Hey, we're going to try this thing tonight. We got people out there listening to us, watching,
Probably.
dancing, maybe.
Let's
maybe
hope.
Not. We'll find out. Oh, I had a way to open the show tonight, and it's just kind of one of those nights. I forgot.
Welcome to No Driving Gloves, coming live to you from John's hotel room and Derek's house.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to No Driving Gloves, July 6th, 2022.
Wow, did we just...
Episode 200 and something teen.
There we go.
Did we just do what?
Well, I don't know. It said live, and then all of a sudden it switched and said live and started a timer. So I'm wondering if we weren't actually live yet.
No, I started a timer and made it go live. You're watching somehow on a delay.
Rock on.
I didn't have a fancy-dancy opening. I just did this 30-second countdown. Look at that. We're already losing viewers. We need to liven this up and start talking cars.
Okay, so, let's do it.
Oh, I had the annoying thing that... Oh, I'm just going to start. Brandy and I talked about it. I don't know when we should drop these in the show, but I'm going to drop mine at the beginning. Driver irritation of the week. When you're in a parking lot and you begin to back out of a spot just back out of a spot, when did it become acceptable to just fly down a lane and to hell with everybody else? There's no caution or anything. If you're in the lane moving, to hell with anybody backing out of their spot, pulling into their spot. It's just, and it doesn't matter, I guess, if it's the cars. The people do it when they're not in their car. I think we need to start running some of these people over. As more people die in the parking lots because they get run over because they're walking behind moving vehicles and not, they do it without even a care. I'm always cautious a little bit, when I'm approaching a vehicle and the backing lights are on. I either swing wide, make sure that they're not moving, they see me. Not just, I'm going to keep walking by. And that's just me being, ignoring the world, and I'm in my own little place. That's what irritated me, not only this week, but probably the last 10 or 12 weeks. I back out of a lot of parking.
It is. No, I think it's a lack of common sense anymore, John. I see it all the time. I hate it. People fly down in their car, as you say, no caution. I've almost been hit a couple times. But actually, one of the other irritations is on the flip side of that, people that don't understand how to back out of their spot and actually turn the steering wheel so that they back out into the lane rather than backing diagonally across the lane and then having to do a multi-point turn because they got too close to the car in the other parking spot on the other side. Or in the case of this past Monday on our way back home, Ohio, the teenager in his Chevy pickup truck that literally backed nearly straight out of his spot backwards while we were trying to load the kids in the car that he had just seen getting in the car. And his comment when I said something about it as he was backing up and backing straight into where nearly the kids were standing, he was just like, well, I got a backup camera. I can see you guys. No, that is not what the backup camera is. A fourth mirror. That's all it is. You should not be solely paying attention to your backup camera. You need to look at your mirrors, your rear views, side rear views, all of that. Take in everything and back up. And also turn the wheels so the back end swings into the lane. Don't run over kids. Anyway, sorry. Yeah. I have another driver irritation of the week, but that's just me going on. Yours.
Well, I'll say we'll hit your driver irritation of the week
at the end.
It's some other. We'll pop it up in the middle of the show,
unless it ties in somewhere.
Where was it? Oh, and the thing, I bought this cell phone holder for my car, and I had one and it cheaply constructed, and eventually the little pivot broke on it. So I bought another one, and it actually mounts much better in the car. It's center mounted. I can see it better. When you punch it, the thing doesn't move, except where it positions the phone. It blocks most of my screen in my car. Now, I don't have a touch screen, so it's not that big of a deal, except when the backup camera's on. So I either can't have the phone in if I want to use the backup camera, But what I'm finding I'm doing is I'm going ahead and putting the phone in where it is, blocking the screen. And guess what? Using my mirrors and looking behind me, and it works. It's amazing that such a complicated or a procedure they've made overly complicated is so easy.
Meh.
Sorry,
What are you doing, Jim?
I have a touch screen and I forget that I'm using the
He has a touch screen and he's trying to use the camera all at once.
yeah. I'm very, very. I don't know if I can do this on this with the single screen. Does it let me?
So, if the listeners haven't figured it out yet, or at least the viewers that are watching live, John is in a hotel room tonight and doesn't have his full setup. So, he's going to painfully walk through this episode of No Driving Clubs.
Hey, but at least I'm completing my sentences and I don't sound too drunk.
Too drunk.
And
Yeah,
I walked.
tonight it actually is the beer.
I walked into the hotel tonight and we're serving burgers and we've got drinks and cookies. I said, well, can I take a beer back to my room? And he said, yeah, not a problem. He gave me a big handful of Michelob Ultras. I got Michelob Ultras to take home with me.
There you go.
So that's unfortunately, I had already ordered my Uber, which I guess this is car related. Thank God Amazon bought Grubhub or came into some agreement with Grubhub. I am sick and tired of ordering Uber. Boy, it's a John bitch fest. And they just eliminate parts of your order and they don't call and tell you. They, just poof, they're gone. And, the poor driver tonight, she was so concerned I'd take back her tip, because they forgot my meatballs with my side of meatballs with my ravioli. And I wasn't mad at her. It wasn't her fault.
How do you know? What if she ate them?
I don't know. I don't know. I got my $11 back for.
Well, there you go.
I can't believe they were $11. I don't remember them costing that much.
That's an expensive meatballs.
And since we're talking memories, let's see.
Memories.
Is that sharing properly?
We really. I'm not seeing anything.
Oh, I got to push this button. Now it's showing.
There we are.
At Landers McCarthy in Fort Payne, Alabama, they have this. Brings back a lot of memories for me. Mercury Marquis station wagon, $23,000. It's a 77. The headlights actually work because I've seen it on the lot and they actually do close. I don't know why they're.
So you can see that it has headlights.
Yes. But it's got the fancy back seats and it's got the ones nobody ever remembers. Everybody remembers the GM rear-facing back seats. And you sit in the way back and you look at the cars.
The Mercury had the ones that faced each other, didn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
My grandfather had, I think, the 78 model of this car. And instead of the beige wood paneling, he had the darker wood. But other than that, it's pretty much the same dang car. There's them fancy
there they
seats. Yep.
Yeah.
And I remember once we had the seats up like that, and I stuck my hand behind it and got my hand stuck back there, and it eventually got me.
I would have left you.
Yeah, probably. Because you're at night.
Exactly.
But I just thought I would throw that one out there for all the Malise listeners and say, it said Landers McCarthy, Fort Payne, Alabama. They also have two square body Chevys, a mid-90s Suburban, and a 92 Cadillac Brougham. If you're in the market for it. They just got the Brougham in, and I'm going to be in Fort Payne next Thursday. And if you're there, it's just down the street from Will's, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, just around the corner, 3 hours, whatever.
I came Fort Payne to Center, then I swung by Will's shop last week.
Yeah, Will's out there somewhere.
Yeah, he just messaged me, so I don't know what he's messaged me about. He probably goes, I want to be on the show, and I didn't send him over.
No, I think he was talking to Jason.
Oh, yeah, that's what it looks like.
Speaking of memories, remember when Will was on the show? He never showed up. He's just always so busy. We can still make fun of him.
We can, but he's a nice guy. Hopefully he's still having a good time out there. I guess we should probably say nodrivinggloves.com/grip. Find out all about his next autocross. I know nothing. I don't know if he's got it posted, but I'm sure he's got a July edition of his autocross coming up, and it's just getting bigger and better. And I need to talk to him because I think No Driving Gloves should chip in some prize money for him too, or buy a couple more cases of water or something.
There we go.
But I will not make the event this month. Throes of moving.
I likely will not be there either.
Oh, so we kind of talked memories, weren't we?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just pulling up some of the information you sent. There we go.
Yeah, that's kind of
All
why I popped up that way again. Is it makes me think grandfather. And ironically, my other grandfather, car I'd love to have gotten off of him. He had a '80 Eagle, a little four-wheel drive Eagle. Drove that all the time. Before that, he had a Spirit, I think it was, little silver car, and then he got the Eagle, which the four-door sedan. He was a farmer, and I'm sure the four-wheel drive was probably a godsend to him. And then I think my uncle got the car after he passed away and probably beat the hell out of it as a farm vehicle eventually.
It's funny. You have these memories of cars in your family, your grandfather's, cars, and I guess thinking back, I don't think I have that. The only thing I can remember that I wish I still had, or that I had the foresight as a kid to save, was, and I don't even remember right now what year it was, but kicking around the farm when I was a kid was the old Corvair four-door sedan that like my mom and her siblings used in high school. And, after it was done, they were done using it. A couple of them, I think they just drove it around as a car to use around the farm or, run into town and stuff. And then eventually it just got parked, right? And just sat around. And it kicked around probably into my early teens, I would think. And I should have probably said, hey, I want that. And I never did. And I don't know why. I still kick myself to this day because I know it just got hauled off by some scrapper or something. It's long gone. But I don't have any cars that I remember my grandpa driving, or I remember what he drove and what they drove, even my grandma. But none of them are cars that today I'd be like, oh man, I got to have that. It's something that brings back memories, things like that. I cannot honestly think of a car that anyone in my family had that I would say that about, like you're saying about your grandpa's.
Yeah, I mean, I remember them, and it wouldn't be like the fifth or sixth car in my collection, but if I had a 20 or 30 car collection, I might slip some. They had the nice old New Yorker, but it's kind of weird that my grandfather and my uncle and that. I mean, they got every dollar they put into those cars and trucks. They drove them into the ground, into the ground, into the ground. Their tractors, on the other hand, they kept them perfect. They'd wash them. They'd wax them twice a year. When they traded them in, they were almost better than new. There was always a waiting list for when my grandfather was trading a tractor in. But their cars ran them into the ground. And not that they ignored them or abused them, but they got, like I said, every dollar out of them. And to the point they became Flintstone mobiles, and you would pedal them around with your feet out the floor. But just...
it's funny that you say that, because honestly, my memories of my grandfather, at least on my mom's side of the family, are from the farm, growing up as a kid. And so that's actually like everything I would hope to have as a keepsake memory that I remember him through is farm equipment. Right. So the John Deere Model H that's still on the farm, sitting in the barn, covered up with sheets. Although I guess I never knew it in running condition when I was a kid, but there's an old threshing machine that, my mom talks about all the time running when she was a kid. And of course, grandpa would have been using it, with the kids. And, like his drill press that's still in the tool shed, as he always called it, the tool shed. There's his drill press that I'd love to have someday, just because of that connection that I had with my grandfather. And so it's kind of funny. My memories aren't about cars with him. It's about the farm and the equipment.
Yeah, I've got the old. My great grandfather was a tool and die maker for International Harvester. My other great grandfather, I believe, was a tool and die maker for John Deere. And at some point in my great grandfather's life, he built a sharpening stone and a big wheel that's probably 3 feet in diameter, and bin that would hold water, and you'd pedal it. And I've got that from him, and it's in my warehouse. I might be able to display it at the new place. It's just I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it's just something, like you said, it's little things like that you remember.
Sharpen your kitchen knives. That's what you got to do with it right there. It should be in the kitchen so you can sharpen your knives.
We can allude to Jason's comment. Did Brandy throw me out? And I had to get a hotel. No,
not yet.
This is part of work. No, but ironically, if I did that sharpen knives that way, especially her new ceramic ones, I probably be stuck in a hotel.
Yeah.
And then ironically, I believe she's actually at the apartment packing. So maybe she's actually throwing me out in the apartment.
She could be.
Sneaking me out.
Go ahead, do it. Do it, Brandy. He's got hotels.
Would have been much more prepared if I didn't have to spend another half hour on the phone. The points division every stay. I've got to talk to them about get my points. But they're good for, 2 stays, get you a $50 Amazon gift card or a Lowe's gift card, or there's a few. But let's swing back to memories. And the memories of my grandfather, why I kind of went there, went from the Mercury to the Eagle, because talk about these manufacturers or maybe even car models that we have fond memories. Maybe bring up what we think should they be brought back, or it's always that conversation. Sometimes I don't think any of this stuff should be brought back, and you can never remake something as good. Look at the Ford almost did with the 05 GT, but their 19 GT, they kind of blew it there. But I don't know where we want to go. Do we want to talk about the slumbering automakers that are trying to claw their way back? Every now and then we see the new Packard or the new Duesenberg or
No, and it's funny because I think it goes into the conversation that you hear a lot of people have sometimes. Wow, John, you turn that off. As bad as Will used to be.
No. This is probably Brandy, commenting.
Probably saying, yes, you're right. Don't come home. But there's always the people that talk about they don't make them like they used to, or they don't build them as good as they used to, or something to that nature or effect, right? And to me, that goes back to the whole what a lot of people refer to as the golden age of things. So a lot of people feel like they were born in the wrong time period. There was a golden age that they should have been born in. For myself, I would probably say, had I been born right around the 1890s, because then I would have been teenage, early adult in some of the heyday of the automobile, even maybe a little earlier. So I could have been, in the 1900s, a little more involved, and just that whole time period fascinated by. But just because we're fascinated by that and, we think that it was a golden era, I think we have to remember that we don't build things like they used to is actually a good thing. If we still built things like they used to, especially automobiles, there would be a lot more issues in this world. It's particularly, automotive deaths in car accidents. Cars are built. They might not look as good anymore. They might not have the styling cues that everybody likes anymore, but you're a lot safer inside those cars. And
just think if we had the cars of yesteryear and their accident ratings and the safety that they were, which was virtually non-existent, and cell phones.
Oh,
what do you think? There's always been the comment that automotive deaths have kind of leveled out and are cars really getting safer, etc. But I think if we eliminate cell phones, we would almost eliminate almost all automotive deaths. If you eliminated drinking and driving and I think cell phones, you would eliminate 95% of automotive deaths.
Good odds.
It's just, they've made the cars safer, but we keep killing just as many people because people have to text and drive, John.
Well, I don't know that we're killing as many people. You'd probably have to work out the percentage rate, right? Because, a lot more people in the world, a lot more people driving than in the, say, 1950s. So you can't just go by the solid numbers of deaths per year. You have to make that a percentage of the population, right? And then figure that out, because I don't remember the numbers exactly, but it was quite high in the 1940s and 50s, the amount of dying in the US in automotive accidents, because for anybody that's listening that knows cars of the 1940s or 50s or even earlier, the 20s, think really hard about how those were built and what the inside of those looked like. Most of them were solid steel, sheet metal dashes, steering wheels that were some kind of metal that could break and be very sharp as you impacted them. And if you go even earlier in the 20s and even into the early 30s in some cases, cars that were nothing more than a wood structure with metal wrapped around them. And by the way, plate glass windows in a lot of those early cars. Not exactly the safest thing to be in the middle of a wreck. Actually, for most of us that go on, drive early cars on the road, a lot of people will say, well, my 1919 Chevy 490 Touring. Why don't you have seatbelts in that thing? Why don't you retrofit seatbelts? Because if I'm in an accident, I want to be thrown as far away from that car as possible. I don't care how bad it hurts when I hit the ground. I don't want to be impaled by wood or a piece of a metal steering column or something to that effect. I want to be able to eject as best I can away from that vehicle. So, I know we're talking about memories, but it just, to me, it brings up that whole, they didn't build them like they used to phrase. And I think we have to really think hard about that when we talk about memories and the way things used to be built and the way things are built.
Oh, I mean, it's all part of the memories. And you brought up, the what we remember about the older cars, and you brought up the safety. I sit here and I'm in the market again for a second car to put miles on. And I go, it'd be great to have a CRX, or it'd be great to. The memory, you can't do that stuff anymore. I mean, it's a false memory. It's never going to be, I think, the same experience or as good of experience, no matter how much I lie to you and tell you it is. It's just cars have gotten so much better, not only safer, but easier to drive, easier to control, more comfortable and compliant. I mean, I compare the Mini S a lot to my CRX SI. I think it's probably the current version of that, but they are worlds apart in cars. It's Mini, so heavy, it's big, I don't know. So when we sit back here and we think, well, think of the NSX. The NSX was a great car. It revolutionized the exotic car world, and we all wanted the NSX back, and then we got the NSX, and nobody bought it because it wasn't the old car. What else do we have that's kind of similar to that we wanted it back and we got it back, and it's just not.
Yeah. I will say one of my least favorite, yet still kind of want to own one, at least for a little while. The comeback of the Pontiac GTO, the Holden Monero crossover. Everybody was excited and pumped to have a GTO back, a muscle car back on the streets out of Pontiac, and it was kind of a dud. They brought instead of building a new platform to build the car around and actually bring out a muscle car, they brought the Monero over, they put the Corvette engine in it, and slapped some GTO badges on it. So, in thinking back to what the GTO was, and someone who had an old GTO when he was a kid, which, mind you, a teenager probably should not have a 1974 or any GTO when they're a teenager. But man, I loved that car. It was fun. It was not in my opinion, let's say, it did not honor what the GTO was to America as a muscle car in the 1960s, early 70s. But it had to be that because it was it had to meet federal standards. It had to meet federal safety standards, emission standards, so on and so forth, and keep going down the list. And the way to do that was to modify an already existing car that they knew would pass all of those, an engine and a car that could pass all of that, and make it an actual affordable, project for the company. Disappointing to people who love the old GTO and wanted something back, but step away from that and look at the car. It's a pretty cool car overall for a 2005, 2006 era muscle car. It's not terrible. You've got Corvette power, you've got a 4-seat muscle car, and it doesn't have terrible style. It looks pretty good for what it is.
Yeah, Jason commented that they picked up a GT this week.
I offered him cash money for that car, and he turned me down. I'm not going to say how much I offered him, but I offered him cash money, and he turned me down.
I'd probably say I'll double what Derek offered you.
And he'd probably still turn it down.
No.
And there's another one, the Camaro that came back. I know people that love that car. I know people that hate that car. I know the guy that designed the car at GM, and it's there. Here it is again. It has, in this case, it has retro style, unlike the GTO they brought back, which did not have retro style. And there are people that love the fact that it's retro style. GM is not a big retro style company, whereas Ford tends to be a little more in that retro design world with the Mustang, and at least as you said, John, the first iteration comeback of the GT, it attempted to capture that retro feel. And GM really never went big into the retro design. They dabbled in it, but
we forget the SSR and the HHR.
We don't have to forget them. I'm just saying those are minor design vehicles in the history. It's not like the Ford Mustang at Ford, which is a massively produced vehicle over the decades. When they decided to retro style it, I can't remember the year they brought that retro style out right now.
It's either 05 or 06, I believe.
Yeah. And I mean, they're still kind of carrying that retro feel of the Mustang on. GM never really has done it as big as they have with, let's say, the Camaro is their big retro style vehicle. And, I like I say, I know people that absolutely love it. I know people that think the design cues are off on the car and they don't like it. So, it's which way are you going to go?
I think GM got it. I've never been a big fan. I don't care what generation. I've never been a big fan. But I think GM got it close to right when the first ones came out. Whatever that was, 09, 11.
Oh, I thought you meant in 67, 68, and 69. I was like, yes, they got it really right then. Yes.
I was never a fan of that either. But I don't think they've improved it. I think the Mustang, well, both the Camaro and Mustang, I think it went the same way, and the styling, squishing the fronts, small profile headlamps, things like that. Ford somehow has transitioned, over the last, what would that, damn near 20 years, and convinced it's went that way. General Motors, it just kind of went to the parts bin and then designed around it. I can't believe there's been 3 generations of that Camaro since whatever it was, 10. And really, the Mustang's only on its second or third restyle since 05. And what I don't understand is 08, 2022 with the same damn car, Fiat or Stellantis. I mean, the Challenger is still one of the best-selling cars in that segment. I know it outsells the Camaro. And other than changing the taillights, have they really done anything?
Not a lot, but that brings up something I saw the other day, and I thought it was a very interesting. I want to know more, but I know I'm never going to track the car down, and I'm never going to find out about it. But I was on my way to work in the morning, and I was on 40, headed west out of Nashville after the 24-40 split, just before my exit to get off for the lane. And I noticed a Challenger coming up behind me, but it looked very strange. And I noticed it had a roof rack on and 2 fairly large off-road tires on the roof rack. And I was like, this is interesting. And so I kind of slowed down a little more than normal to take the exit and like get up beside me. And again, man, I wish I knew more about what this person was doing and kind of what they're, doing with this Challenger, because they had put fairly large wide body kit on the rear end of the quarters, and it had street tires on it at the time, but you could see it had a bit of a suspension lift. And those tires that were on the roof rack were for the car. They were for that car. And the car was pretty dirty and, wasn't exactly in pristine condition. It had some dings and scratches and things like that. I honestly think someone was using it as like a off-road endurance vehicle or something. Like I say, I wish I knew more about it because it seemed really interesting. I was tempted to continue following it and chase them down, but anymore these days, you don't know what had happened if you tried to do. And I had to get so.
Well, that's a whole niche of cars that's becoming popular because Porsche's reintroducing a 911 Safari, Lamborghini's introducing a Safari edition of the Huracan, and it's Safari edition of the Challenger, and it's not that outlandish because you can get an all-wheel drive Challenger, so you can still lift a two-wheel drive vehicle, but it's different. I mean, it's not. I guess I've also never seen a gasser. Take a new Challenger and make it into a gasser where you hike up the front end. But
yeah, just get a good. Well, actually, they don't hike up the front end, but I mean, if you get the what is it? Which package is it? Is it the Hellcat or the one that comes with the whole drag, the whole box with the drag,
the old
drag pack kit?
The Demon used to come with it. Had a drag pack kit for it.
I mean, you were getting kind of close there. You got the skinny, narrow front tires and, all that. So you just get that. You lift that front end, give it a little gasser.
Not that I'm a fan of the gassers. There's a memory I would like.
Gassers? What's wrong with gassers?
It's just not a style I like. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just not a style I like. I mean.
Yeah, that's right. They sit too high for you. You like those mini trucks. I forgot.
The frame ain't scraping. You've been taken.
Wow.
There's also another bumper sticker from that era, but he probably can't say it anymore. Probably too.
I probably.
Yeah, but I probably.
Oh Lord. So what other memories are there? We're going down the path of the Challenger and that actually the Challenger and Charger thing, and you starting out with Mercury wagon makes me think of the Magnum, the Dodge Magnum.
I remember the Magnum.
I really, as a station wagon, I really liked the Magnum. It had a good look.
Oh, I thought you were talking like the 77 Magnum.
No, I'm talking about the newer, the Dodge Magnum wagon.
Yeah, damn reuse of nameplates there.
Well, there again, reusing nameplates. We've talked about that on the show before, right? I mean, and think about it like one of the ones what we talked about within the last, let's say, 10 episodes, Ford Lightning. Right?
Yep.
They're going to use the Lightning name again on a truck, but it's going to be electric.
Yeah, that's because they listen to our podcast, you see, and they realize they misnamed the Mustang Mach-E, and it should have been the Show-E.
Exactly.
Still think.
Yeah. CTS wagon is best looking wagon. Yeah, I will agree with that, Jason. I think I've mentioned on the show before. If I was to own one, I'd like the CTS-V.
I don't think the CTS wagons aged that gracefully. I just saw one today, as a matter of fact. It was a 3.6. It wasn't the V. But I just don't think that car, I don't think the CTS or the CTS wagon has aged that gracefully. It's just...
See, the CTS coupe to me, killer lines. Black, dark tinted windows. That's where it's at.
My stepfather had a CTS coupe, and I don't know. That was probably about the same time. I go, I don't. It just... I think the ATS coupes actually look better, and I don't know why, but the CTS just kind of is big in the wrong place. It's got a big butt, and so did the wagon, and the wagon had those really, really fat C-pillars. I'm not saying that the Magnum wagon was much better. It had its challenges too. Don't get me wrong. Back in 12 and 14, I would have, given a lot, we'll say, for a CTS V, 6-speed, blah, 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 blah. but I don't think I'd be on the boat to buy one today if I won the $400 million lottery this weekend. I'm not going, that wouldn't be a car that would be in my top 100 to buy.
Seriously? Wow. It would be in mine. It would be in my bigger question though, seeing John just said it does have a big butt. Does Sir Mix-a-Lot approve? Because if Sir Mix-a-Lot would own it, I mean, you got to own it, right?
I don't think he discusses it in the song Cars.
Well, maybe we need to get him on the show.
And really, that butt ain't round.
Well, that's true.
It's very angular.
But the question is, does it got it going on like a turbo vet?
I don't know. Dial 1-800-Mix-a-Lot.
Speaking of memories, we just lost any millennial that listens.
I don't know if we would have necessarily lost a millennial as long as we kept it into Baby Got Back. But if we started getting into Testarossa and my Hoopty and my Benzo.
Yep. Man, there was just somewhere I was going to go. I had to get the Mix-a-Lot thing in and I completely forgot. Oh, yeah, that's what it was. So memories, and you're talking about, cars your grandpa's had or whatnot. And then you just throw out if you win the $400 million lottery this week, the CTS V coupe wagon, whatever, wouldn't be in your top 100. What would be your top memory car? Doesn't have to be number one in your list of cars that you would buy if you won the lottery, but what would be the one memory car you would buy if you did have that 400?
I would imagine anybody in the chat could answer that question when it comes to.
I think we have like 2 people in the chat tonight, John.
Yeah, but I imagine either one of them could go ahead and say, John's going to be right out there to buy a second gen CRX.
There you go. I kind of assumed as much, but you never know. When you got 400 million, you could have had one that bumped up because of sentimental value.
Nope, it's going to be the CRX. And then I probably, I'd like to have the lower Isuzu again, but I might lean to an S10 this go around if I had 400 million. See, Jason said CRX, probably just a little bit of a time delay there. But I can't remember how I was going to go. But what's yours? Since we're just throwing that out there.
Oh, top memory car? I'd probably
got 400 million. You're going to check. What would be your top memory car, and would it change if you had $400 million?
No. To the second, no. I would hunt down I found the serial number, VIN number recently of the 74 GTO I used to own, and I would hunt that car down again because it's the one car that has been sold that we didn't keep, and now I'm like, wish I still had that car. Jason, the Beretta, and it wasn't a GTU, it was just a G. But no, the Beretta wouldn't.
I'd do an Indy before I did it.
If I was to get one, it'd have to be the GT. It would have to be a 93 black, the Beretta GT, teal and purple decal. The only thing I would change is I probably would try to hunt down one that was a 6-speed. Mine was an automatic. 6 speeds were a little more.
Now if we're going to narrow it down to a single car, and I just talked about this with my dad recently. There was a 1984 Dodge 600 ES turbo convertible built in purple, one-off car for a lady that always ordered her Chryslers in purple. And it was the last car Chrysler ever pulled off of a line in custom paint. And if I could come across that car again, and I know it exists and I know it's in a collection, I just don't know whose collection. If you had that in front of me and a CRX and the numbers were correct, pricing-wise, it would be really hard to say which one I would say yes to first. I'd still go home with them both, but I don't know. I've always liked the old 600 ES turbo convertible we had. We had black with a gray interior with a black top, but that purple, it was a purple one with a gray interior and a white top. I don't know. That one, I should have bought the damn thing when I had a chance, but it didn't sell for that much, and I should have bought it. But should have, could have,
messed up, John. Yeah, totally messed up.
Should have, could haves, and would haves.
Mm-hmm.
So, did we do
it seems like your dad had a lot of kind of cool and interesting cars as you were growing up. My dad, my dad had trucks, right? He's just a Chevy truck guy. He's always worked GM. So we always had Chevy trucks. I remember many of his Chevy trucks. At one point we did have I want to say it was like 89, maybe 1989. Olds Cutlass Calais. It was a 2-door. But of course, it had the back seat because, my sister and I had to ride the back seat. Was it?
Yeah, it was built off the Grand Am platform.
Yeah. I'm just trying to remember the car. It was blue. Pretty sure it had a blue interior, cloth interior. Yeah. There's probably a picture of it somewhere, but we never really, I guess my parents never had crazy, interesting cars like it seems your dad had. Like I said, trucks, the cars, at one point my mom had a Dodge minivan.
Well, and that's where I'm going. I can't say Dad's had that many crazy outlandish cars because he bought a Caravan in 84, actually 83, one of the first ones, if not the first one to be delivered and he drove a Caravan from 84 to 93. And then he got his Lexus and drove that 93 to 96. And then he got his Dodge Ram 1500 four-wheel drive pickup with a plow on it because he needed a plow again. And he drove that until probably 01 or 02 when he went back to a Caravan.
And Jason, you used the wrong word there. John's dad still has a Sweet. They never got rid of it. They still have it.
Yeah, we still have it. Mm-hmm. And I was going to say, I can go down that list. We had the 69 Chevelle SS. We had the 70 Charger. Then we had the Dodge Aspen station wagon. Then we had the 81 Charger 2.2. And then it kind of gets fuzzy because there's company vehicles that get slipped in there. But when the Charger 2.2 got wrecked, we went to a Rampage and used a Dodge Rampage as a family of four car for a year or so when we bought the Dodge 600 convertible, which was kind of my mom's car. Then Dad got his Caravan. And then Mom got a 87 LeBaron turbo convertible, the Pace Car edition, which if anybody's listening, before I put it on eBay or anything, I have all the graphics for it, all the stickers that go to it, the key that goes to it, the custom Pace Car key, the wall graphic that went into the dealership, all of that. If anybody's got a 87, all the Pace Car stuff for. I don't know if, it's 40-year-old stuff now. 35-year-old stuff. So I doubt if the decals and that work, but I have them. And after that, he stayed with Caravans, and then they got divorced, and my mom got rid of the LeBaron for a 91 Grand Prix GT, and then she got rid of that for a 94 Mustang, and then that became Dad's still in Caravans, and granted the Viper slipped it, but the Mustang became what the Mustang became. But it became something else, which became a PT Cruiser, one of the first PT Cruisers ever delivered back when they were cool cars. And then that became, I think, a Ford Fusion, and they're into Cadillac.
You reminded me of one vehicle that I probably would be a memory vehicle from family. On the farm, my aunt had a 1996 95, 96, somewhere right in there. Dodge Ram pickup. Obviously, Dodge Ram. Don't have to say pickup. But anyway, they had the Ram vans. But anyway, Dodge Ram pickup. But it was a regular short box, 2500 series, and it had a dealer installed 3-inch lift, and it had the V10. That truck was an absolute blast. I had way more fun than I should have in there. And it was just really freaking cool. And I would own another 95, 96 era Dodge Ram set up the way that one was. If I couldn't find that exact one, I would find one set up the way that was. Because it looked good. It drove good. I wouldn't want to drive
what year
right
did
now
you
with
say?
Gas prices, but...
What year were you saying again? Oh, V10. What year? What year?
It was 95, 96, as I remember.
Because he bought a Dodge 3500 chassis in 94, and he still has that. It's got a box on the back, and it was a box truck. And then his 96 Ram went away because they have a tendency for the brake lines to rust through when he was plowing his driveway. Really steep hill, and the brake line exploded. He ended up crashing Indian total. It was the tree, or it was the lake across from his driveway.
That was nice of him.
But Jason, I don't know if you remember 2001, or really it was early 2000 they were selling for crazy, crazy money. Market adjustment type cars, and people wanted them, and my stepdad saw one on a Carrier. Actually, there were four of them, and he followed it to the dealership, and he went in and asked him, and they said, "Well, that one's not sold," and he said, "It is now." That's how he got hit, and they played with it for a few years, but eventually PT Cruisers became what they're thought of as now. The whole thing got destroyed by the Chevrolet HHR.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, as a panel truck, was kind of a cool truck. Neighbor had one of those, and I don't know.
That was some good memories, John. Good memories.
I remember the old Chevy S10 Baja 4x4, Jason. They were interesting. And what was the two-wheel drive version of basically the same truck was the Durango.
Wait, what? Say that again?
Well, you remember the Chevy S10 Baja that he was talking about here. So 4x4. And there was a two-wheel drive version. Didn't have the roll cage, but it was kind of and I want to say it was the Durango, but it was just a custom paint job and some custom wheels. It would say it down the side of above the body line corner.
I don't think it was Durango. That doesn't sound right, because the Dodge would have already been using the Durango name in the 90s.
I'm trying to think of what they even called the Durango.
Right now
I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out what the.
Yeah. Now, wait, are you talking? So there's the Baja. You're not talking about the Cyclone, are you?
Oh, no, not the Cyclone or the Typhoon. Oh, the Durango is the SU, but no, that didn't come out until 95 or 90. Sorry, I'm going to look this one up, and then we'll go ahead and clear the show.
Wow, I really do not.
There it is.
I do not remember the Chevy S10 Durangos. Huh. I found them.
Yes.
They're in the 80s, 83, 88.
Yeah, that's a different. There was a spec around 91, 92.
91 S10 Durango, right
Collectors
there.
beware, rare first edition S10 Durango.
All right. Well, the Durango name sure has been used a lot. Ford Durangos, Chevy Durango, Dodge Durango. Geez.
Can't tell if this one's still for sale or not. It's only got 121,000 miles on it, and it's an 82, so it's probably somewhere around $18,000.
Yeah. All right. Well, we solved that. We solved the world's problems. So let's wrap up Nubs.
I just was giving you a hard time, PT Cruiser. I inquired about one. What? I was reading Jason. He was just giving me a hard time about the PT Cruiser.
Oh, Lord.
He said his mom was interested, so they sent in and got the info packet and sent him a matchbox. I had all kinds of die-cast pieces, and if you'd like to add to your collection. But I think we discussed memories. I don't know if we discussed memories the way we wanted to, but we talked cars, we talked memories, and we talked some bitching. Oh, you've got a bitch to do, and then we'll close out the show.
Oh, that's right. I completely forgot about it. Yeah, so my gripe of the week, if you will, why people are tuning their cars the way they are in some cases. Two things that really bother me. The guys with diesel trucks that I believe it's called rolling coal, when they tune their engine so rich that they just blow black smoke out of their custom exhaust pipe that usually comes up out of the hood or out of the bed of the truck and tries to be like a semi. I don't get it. I don't.
That's a status thing, Derek.
It's not.
If you had the kind of money to turn $6 a gallon diesel into black smoke.
No, because those are the same guys that are complaining about the price of diesel right now, but yet they got their truck tuned to blow out black exhaust anyway. And the other one on the internal combustion gasoline side of things is the tuning your engine to make it backfire while you're driving, dumping so much fuel that you can, tweak the throttle and get it to backfire. Literally, it's same parking lot where the guy using his backup camera, the kid using his backup camera, came way too close to backing into the Acadia and my family. It wasn't 2 minutes before that. I heard some import going by, and he was blipping his throttle enough to have his tune set. And it literally was just like, all it was doing was back. Just it's like, usually when we start an antique car and it's backfiring like that, we try to adjust it so it stops. but now they're tuning it so it does that. Like, I don't get. I know I'm a little old man, and get off my lawn.
The characters. We'll just say Clint Eastwood. It's a race car thing, I think, for that, because race cars do it. So, when you can backfire again, gas through your exhaust, it's just completely unburnt fuel and you just waste it. It's showing how fast you go and how much money you have to waste.
Yeah.
See, Derek became a dad. Derek.
Exactly. I've always been a little old.
Now he's just really
not just because I'm a dad.
Now he's got kids to use his.
Exactly. Get off my lawn.
I got a story, but I don't know if the statute of limitations has run out. But I was talking to somebody about writing a book the other day. You got to be careful, because sometimes double check that statute of limitations, because he had a buddy write a book or something and had two or three of his friends go to jail. Don't know how true the story was, but the names were changed to protect the
evidently not well enough.
Or the guilty. I don't think the guy changed the names.
That's always changed the names.
Yeah, I think it was an autobiography or something. And when it's an autobiography, it has to be true. If it's not true, it's not an autobiography, hence the story. And it was believed to be true. And I believe the way it was told. And can't remember who was telling me it, so I can't tell you. I think I know, but I can't quite tell you the whole parameters. But we were supposed to end with your bitch.
Yep.
So, well, I wish I
wrap it up.
Wish I had my sound effect board. Oh, Jason likes rolling coal. With that, I'm going to get out of here. I'm done. Later.
I'm done.
Wait,
See you next week.
Calls to action. NoDrivingGloves.com. Check it out. NoDrivingGloves.com /coffee. If you want to buy us a coffee, if we're actually providing you anything of value, you can provide us some things of value. Just a cup of coffee. All the back episodes, everything coming up. Working on updating the Amazon pages. It should be ready for you in Prime Day. Prime Day in 6 days. Oh, and I guess we should have said it. I think Derek and I are going to shift the old broadcast to Thursday nights. If any of our regulars have a problem with that, let us know. We'll consider it. But I think we're going to shift to Thursday nights at 9. It's going to fit both of our schedules a little bit better, especially me after the move. But again, audio still comes out every Friday morning, and that's going to be the whole goal. So with that, I'm out of here.
See you.